of law enforcement agencies are struggling with low morale, recruitment challenges, and a tarnished reputation. If you're ready to transform your agency, to strengthen your team, and build trust in your community, we're here to help. The Elevate Your Call to Service podcast shares a revolutionary approach to leadership development. Join us and discover how to elevate your leadership journey and your agency to new heights of excellence.
We're your hosts, Michael and Cathy McIntosh. Mike is a retired sheriff and current bureau chief in the Denver metro area with nearly 40 years of law enforcement experience.
Cathy is a business and branding expert with a unique perspective on the human side of law enforcement.
Together, we share a powerful blend of practical experience and insightful roadmaps to elevate your call to service.
Most, if not all, law enforcement agencies have a mission statement, usually some polished line on a wall or a website. But how many people actually know it? Does it even work?
It's like having that faded mug in your break room, right, that says to serve and protect, where it's a nice idea, but it's worn out, it's overused, it's just old-fashioned, and a lot of times it's even ignored. So if your team can't say your mission statement or feel it, it's really not a mission, it's just noise, and that doesn't help anyone.
Totally agree. Some mission statements I've seen, you would need a 7-minute briefing just to get to the end of it. So, what's the fix?
A fix is a clear mission statement, something that's short and simple. So what a clear mission statement does is inspire, it motivates, and it also unites. And we've got some great stories to share with our listeners today about how all of that comes together. But I like to say that it should be one breath simple, something that you can literally say in one breath, something that's going to fit on a mug or a t-shirt. You can picture it on a billboard, you can picture it on your website, something that's short and easy to remember. And when it's real, it starts to just radiate as your entire team's why they do the work that they do each and every day.
So the trick is just one breath.
Yep, just one breath. And let's unpack a little bit about how to get there.
Okay.
So before we do that, though, I would really love for you to tell me from your experience why having that clear mission statement is important, not just to organizations, but also to smaller teams within an organization as well.
Well, I think there's a couple of different aspects that you need to look at. And the first is people get into law enforcement for 3 primary reasons. One, there's this strong desire to serve your community. Every time I've ever been through a recruiting process, one of the things that people always say is, I just want to serve. I have a servant's heart, I want to serve. Mm-hmm. The other is most people that get into law enforcement, they have a sense of wanting to belong to something bigger than themselves, yes, greater than themselves. Yes. That team camaraderie. I boil that all down into what I call a calling. Mm-hmm. It's really a calling to want to serve in law enforcement. And then sometimes it's the benefits of the job. It's the fact that you have something that is very, very needed, and it's a great place to have a career, to get your feet settled. There's stability in law enforcement, and there's a lot of benefits in law enforcement that come with it.
Yeah. And I was part of your life when you started your law enforcement career. And I think that your reasons to get involved hit on all 3 of those aspects. You had just come out of the military and you had gone back into a life of building houses where you didn't work when it rained, you didn't get paid when it snowed, all of those things were happening. And there was no benefits whatsoever, no health insurance. Right. We start talking about, bringing a family into the world, and like, how in the world are we ever going to afford that? So I think your reasons of joining law enforcement hit on all of those aspects.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely loved that structure that I found within the military, and really that common purpose, that common mission, and that's what we're going to be really focusing our time on today. But I would also say that, having been in law enforcement for, let's not call it 4 decades, but we're getting close to that. There's different ebbs and flows that you go through throughout your career, and there are times that you start to get burned out from long shifts. You notice within the organization this bureaucratic red tape.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so long to get things done, so long to make a shift. There's also been times where we've had that national narrative of public distrust
And scrutiny. Yeah.
and scrutiny
Mm-hmm.
against law enforcement, and the job starts to feel more like just reacting rather than making the difference that we all got into law enforcement to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from experience and what I've watched, a clear mission statement, a clear vision, a clear direction to where we're headed makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I've watched that right alongside you, and I've really seen firsthand, secondhand, from my perspective, but how it can transform a team and how it can get people marching to the beat of the same drummer and moving in step with each other as they move toward their purpose and fulfilling that calling that you just spoke about.
Yeah, I think that clear mission statement really refocuses them, and brings them back to those first three things that we talked about, the reason why they got into law enforcement. So let me share a little bit of a story about really the first time that I felt a mission statement really impact me, and kind of that aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to tell you, unfortunately, it was a long time into my career.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we didn't have a mission statement. I really didn't understand, nor do I think that a lot of people around me really understood the value and the importance of a mission statement. Now, we all had it on a printed card in our pocket, and if anybody asked us, we could pull it out and we could read from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it really didn't resonate internally. It was something that we would say, but we really didn't feel inside.
Yeah. I think you even had it on the walls of headquarters, right?
Absolutely.
When you walked into the reception area, there it was.
Yeah, yeah. And when we first started gathering around the concept of taking over, and I hate to use the word taking over, but we got elected to be the sheriff. And when we started really wrapping our brains around that, the first thing that we sat down and did collectively as a leadership group was develop a mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked through that process, and you were instrumental in that process. But we knew that this was something that was going to really be the foundation of where our time as sheriff, where our legacy kind of began.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we said it, was making sure that we had a common purpose that everybody could get behind. And that resonated with me because I had come from administration, and I know that although we had phenomenal people within the organization, and we had a good organization, we weren't all walking in the same direction. We weren't all step in step. In fact, I would tell you that there were times that some division leaders didn't necessarily like other division leaders, and that's not uncommon in law enforcement.
For sure.
And so they start with these silos, and really the only thing that they're looking out for is those that are in their division, and they kind of set their own agenda as to where it is that they want to go.
It was like there was no glue that could hold everyone together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I wanted our divisions to work step in step, hand in hand, to complement each other, to collaborate. I knew that we wouldn't always necessarily agree, but I wanted us to have kind of a sense that we were all pulling in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in those times that we got together to develop this mission statement that we had the input of everybody that was involved. And that's how we developed the mission statement that we ultimately developed. And I think that was also very particular to the time that we were walking through.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lack of trust in law enforcement itself, and certainly a lack of trust from the community to law enforcement. The other things that can happen, unfortunately, in a political process is there can be folks that are kind of on both sides. So there were people within the organization that had voted for a different person than me,
Mm-hmm.
and then there were people in the organization that voted for me.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, the candidates had all come from within the sheriff's office,
Exactly.
which made it a little bit more divisive than
Yep.
than other elections that we've seen.
And the thing that I wanted to do quickly was, one, develop trust
Mm-hmm.
and develop unity. And I knew that if we don't do that internally, we have no hope of doing that externally.
Mm-hmm.
So what came of that was our mission statement, our guiding principle, and everything that we did. What came from that was unity through trust, trust through connection.
Mm-hmm. Which was clear and simple. And I love one of the other things that you said. It really resonated with the timbre of what was going on in the organization at that time. So a mission statement doesn't even need to be something that is forever, because things change. And you might have a mission statement right now that 4 or 5 years from now just doesn't fit anymore. And then it's time to go back to the drawing board and do it again. That's great. That's wonderful. That's exactly what we want. It should be a living, breathing, moving process that keeps you in tune with what the needs of your team and your community are.
Yeah, and you start to, anytime you develop a mission statement, there would be naysayers, much
Mm-hmm.
like I was. Okay, that's great. I'm going to keep doing my job, but it really started to resonate with the employees throughout the organization, and it takes time, right?
Sure.
It takes time for people to, one, understand what that means. Unity through trust, trust through connection. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it can mean different things to different people, but I had an opportunity as time went on to be a part of community meetings where I heard deputies recite that and explain to a group of folks within in the community what that meant to them. And then when we would go through either promotions or somebody was competing for a position on a special team, this mission statement was interwoven in really everything that we
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm.
That was always kind of our guiding light, our guiding direction as to ensuring that folks are headed in this direction and that they're with us.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about fit in an organization, and that comes a lot from, are you on board with where the organization is headed right
And I love your whole process too, and I think it was brilliant because it wasn't just top down. You developed something with such meaning that it was personal to everyone who was on your team, and that's exactly what a mission can do. It's not just for the agency as a whole. It's not just for the sake of having a mission statement that somebody can see if they go on your website, but it's for every officer, every call. It's for everyone, even all of your civilian employees and all of your support staff. Everybody can rally around your mission statement when it's the right one.
now. Yeah, and that's such a great point, because when you talk about an organization that at the time had 550 to 570 employees and volunteers, it's it was a mission statement that everybody, no matter what your job was, no matter what your role was, that you could get around, and understand. You could put your arms around that, right? And understand what that mission statement was really saying, and how you, in your role, could apply that the to the community, or to the employees that you supported within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're looking at building trust in unity, really you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, and I firmly agree, I feel like every person, nearly every person on the planet, wants to be part of something that's bigger than themselves. And your mission statement told a story, and there's power in that story. It painted the bigger picture. So it validated exactly why it was that you guys existed as an organization. It inspired your team by developing connection. People knew if they connected with one another, they could build trust. And if they built trust, they could all of a sudden be unified. Who doesn't want that? You gave them the stepping stones. And it was so simple and so easy to say and so easy to memorize. We can still say it years later,
Right.
but it stuck. It stuck, and it meant something to all of them.
Yeah. And it was so encouraging to see how people really rallied around it, how they really believed it. Deputy, as I said, Deputy spoke about it, at community meetings, and that's when you know that you're on the right track. Mm-hmm. That's when you know it's more than just a slogan that we put up on the wall, mm-hmm. or up on our website, or folks have things on a car, in donuts we trust, or whatever the case may be. But that's when you know, when people start to grasp that and move forward with that, that you're headed in the right direction, that your mission statement really has a value to it.
We're going to get into the nitty-gritty now about how to build that strong, concise, easy to memorize mission statement for a team or for an agency, for our listeners out here. I feel like we're really spilling the tea. I feel like we're getting deeper into the weeds with the how-to in this episode than we normally do. This is something that I think typically you save for your mastermind groups, your coaching clients.
Right.
We're just going to get into it because we do think it's that important, and we do think it has that much of an impact. The first thing that you want to do is know your why. Mm. And a lot of the revelation that's come on in my mind is that your why most often starts with your who it is that you're serving. So you have to know what makes your community unique, what makes your community different from the neighboring community that's right next door to the police department that's just down the street. And you also need to know what specific obstacles, problems, challenges that your community faces so that you can help them with that. So you have to know who you're serving and what you're helping them achieve or overcome.
Yeah, and I would just lean into that a little bit further, and that's why you can't just steal somebody else's mission statement.
Right.
Oh, it sounds great.
Yeah, serve and protect.
Right.
Was awesome.
Yeah.
In its day.
And a lot of organizations developed that or
adopted
took that, mm-hmm. as their mission statement. And we can kind of understand that in the law enforcement role. But back to kind of the point that you said, 550 people in an organization, are we all really here to serve and protect? What does that do for the records clerk? What does that do for the IT folks? What does that do for those folks that are really not necessarily in that first responder role, mm-hmm. but in a supportive role, which is critically important
Absolutely.
To an organization. Mm-hmm. But how does that mission statement guide and direct them where they need to be?
Mm-hmm. So know who you serve, know exactly what their obstacles and their challenges are. And then you want to paint a picture of success. So try to help your team, your community, whoever's hearing that mission statement, whoever's involved in making it happen, be able to envision what's down the road when they achieve that mission. So The whole unity piece of your mission statement is very motivational. Most people want to be unified. Most people don't enjoy conflict. They don't enjoy being pulled apart. They don't enjoy experiences like that. So when you're all moving towards something like unity, it feels bigger than they are. It feels like, oh, but I can have a part in it. It doesn't exclude me. It's bigger than me, but it doesn't exclude me. So paint that picture and help your team imagine that better future that you're bringing either to the team or the community or both. It's kind of like your destination on a road trip, right? You have a specific place to go and a specific reason to go there. You don't just get in your car and drive to California for absolutely no reason. If you do, wow, you've got a lot of time and money on your hands, and we'd like to talk to you. But for your agency, your destination was earning trust in the community and unifying the agency itself. So that's step 2 in a mission statement. And then the third step, 3 simple steps: know your why you exist. What results hinge on you completing your mission? If there's not something that's either won or lost because your mission is complete or incomplete, then you don't really have a mission at all. There's really no reason to go on a mission if there's nothing to gain. So having those marching orders and a reason behind it is a really good thing to keep in front and center in your mission statement. Again, a short, one breath statement is all that you need.
And I would just say, you have the ability to put that together so well to make it understandable and relatable, and it have been a big part of helping me develop mission statements over the years. So here we are on this podcast. Give us an example of a short, simple mission statement.
Okay, so let's take a special unit, for example, and start small. So maybe let's take school resource officers. That's
Okay.
your SRO team.
Yep.
So your who is students and educators. These are the officers that are in schools, the deputies that are in the actual school buildings. The problem that students and educators face is the potential for unsafe environments, something that they're in every single day. So that's the problem that you want to solve. And if you share maybe the hope of a bright future, that's the opposite of their problem. So it can be simply stated, we're there to create safer school environments, right? So thinking about then what's at stake, what can be won or lost, it's the future of our kids. It's the future of our kids. That's, wow, a very meaningful,
Right.
powerful set of stakes that you have. Something can be won or lost if you guys don't complete your mission, right? A lot hinges on the education and the social environments of the kids that are in those schools. So a very clear, very simple mission statement for an SRO team might be, we keep schools safe so our kids have a brighter future. I mean, that's meaningful, it's short, it's memorable, and it can light me up. It would make me want to go to the schools every day and continue to deal with what you deal with. Some of it's not pretty, some of it's amazing inside of a school. But on those hard days, a clear mission can keep your head afloat and keep you in the game and not wanting to give up.
Right. And so to serve with excellence, we miss the mark there. But the mission statement, short, simple, that you just gave, really puts the focus back for everybody involved in the SRO unit as to why we're putting on the uniform today and why we're going into and doing the job that we're doing.
Yeah. So to serve with excellence is a fabulous goal. It's a wonderful thing to aspire toward. But it's missing out on the who. It's missing out on the stakes. Why? Why do you want to serve with excellence? So you look good because you look good in your uniform. It starts to be more self and ego focused as opposed to who and service focused. And that's what makes a mission statement a little bit different than just an aspiration or a goal.
So what if a team skips this?
You know, a lot of teams do skip it. And to me, it looks like you're kind of sunk. Officers start to drift. they're burned out, they're checked out. It feels like just punching the clock. It feels like here I am again trying to keep my head above water with all of this paperwork because I got a late call at 10 minutes before my shift ended. What am I supposed to do? It just people start to crater. When you have a clear mission statement and you have that exact same scenario, maybe a partner comes along and says, "Yeah, but don't forget,
Right.
look at who you're helping. Like this is part of our mission. This is what we're here for." And you
Yeah.
can pick each other up and go, "Okay, you're right. We can do this. Let's keep doing it."
I've definitely seen deputies kind of lose that spark, lose their way,
Mm-hmm.
and really think that the mission is I just have to survive this paperwork.
Yeah, and nobody likes that. But you've done such a great job in keeping mission statements front and center and helping people remember why they're doing what they're doing. Give us a few more examples from your real world experience.
Um, so I can tell you that because of going through and seeing the value of mission statements, I've noticed the need to have them not just overarching for an organization, but really, like you just did, um, having them specific to these specialized units
Mm-hmm.
or the division itself, the patrol team, the jail team, the investigations team, and it gives you the opportunity to set folks that are wanting to go into that, set clear expectations. For example, in a sheriff's office, many times patrol is filled by folks, deputies that had worked in the jail, and now they come in, they work in patrol, and then they leave patrol and they go to investigations, and from investigations they move up through the ranks, right? But there was a time where I saw when I was the sheriff, I saw a lot of deputies that would transfer from the jail to patrol and really not do well. And I think that at the beginning, a lot of that is because there was no clear expectation. There was no mission. There was no vision as to what it is that they were trying to accomplish on a daily basis in their job assignment, in their task. There was really no, as you described it, no greater why as to why you should be moving into this role. And so we would see folks leave the jail, they would come to patrol, and the culture and the work environment are completely different. In a jail, it's a fairly set structure. You're in a kind of a closed environment. It's an environment that the temperature is going to be the same, between 68 and 70 degrees. And guess what? It never rains or snows inside the jail. So there's a lot of differences in the role itself when you're working as a jail deputy. Incredibly tough job, incredibly difficult job. But for the most part, if you're working a shift and you get off at 7 o'clock, there's a real good chance you're going home at 7:05, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being with me for as long as you have, you go to patrol, and if your shift ends at 7 o'clock, that's just the start of the paperwork and the end of shift things that you need to do. That's if you didn't catch a late call at 6:45, that now you're not even back to, the police department, the substation, 30, 45 minutes late. So there's a family dynamic to that, right? I mean, before, those at home knew what time you're going to walk through the door. When you go to patrol, they have no clue when you're going to walk through the door for dinner, breakfast, whatever shift you're working. And until we kind of notice that we need to be better at setting the expectations and the job responsibilities, um, that we were probably going to continue to lose folks that were going from the jail to patrol. So we saw that we needed to set kind of that mission for the patrol division. And once we set that, once folks understood that, we would bring them in for an orientation before they even transferred so that they kind of had clear understanding expectations and could ask questions. So that kind of struck me as, this vision thing, this mission thing, this why thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really important. And we have to be able to communicate it well and take the time to do that.
And translate it to family dynamics too. People who are at home need to have some understanding of all of that as well, so that they can start to know what to expect.
Right.
Know that this is normal. Your husband's not being a jerk. Your wife's not just forsaking the family so that she can
Right.
do this thing. It's just part of the job.
Yeah. Yeah. And so to your point, we would invite family members to attend this orientation. And we saw great results with that. Just recently, I was able to had some new captains come into divisions and was able to kind of sit down and go through crafting a mission statement for their divisions,
Their teams.
for their teams, and started walking through that process. And they walked through that process with me, and then kind of took it back to their teams. And I was very pleasantly, and I still get surprised sometimes of the impact that a mission statement has, but I was very pleasantly surprised that when they were in front of their teams and they were talking about this mission statement that they had crafted and the reasons why this is important, the teams ate that up. It really started to develop even a tighter knit team than what they had before. And the team could start to that peer support and that peer pressure, it can go a long ways to moving a team in the right direction. And it has really done a lot of great things within those teams on those divisions.
It is so much fun to watch stuff like that, because sometimes we think, okay, mission statements are really important to you and I. We can see the value. We get it. Do other people think it's important?
Right.
Is this worth having a podcast episode about? And then you start to watch how it actually translates to the people doing the job every single day, and you see how it lights them up. That's, to me, where the rubber meets the road.
You and I love a good acronym. And
Love us a good acronym.
if you're going to be in law enforcement or around organizations that love good acronyms, we've got another, I believe, great acronym that really brings clarity to the why, and it's vision. So can you go through vision with us?
Sure. Well, I'll walk through vision. So V is to validate. Validate your who. Get very, very clear on who you serve and what you're helping them overcome. I is inspire. Your mission statement should inspire your team. It should motivate them on a daily basis, because it gives them that clear why that they can grab hold of. It's something tangible, it's something specific, and it's the spark. And I love that.
Yeah.
S is a statement that you can share in one breath. One breath statement. It's easy to memorize, it's easy to share. People can pass it on. I, the second I, is to integrate. Use it at every shift. Use it with every team member. I know your captains, when they started sharing their mission statements for their teams, started writing it on the dry erase boards, and it was up all the time for everyone to see, and it started to be memorized and talked about, and it just became common vernacular, right? The next letter is O. You need to own it to lead it. We talked about this briefly, but don't borrow someone else's mission. It has to be your own mission, something that you can own, something that comes from your heart. You may need to draw team members in to help you create this so that it is your own, but make it something personal and relatable and achievable, right? And then N is to navigate. use that mission statement to help you navigate through many storms. One of the last things that I want to talk about, and this really starts to paint a picture of success and how a win could look. When we talk about letting your mission statement help you navigate some storms, this started to happen when you were sheriff. And you started to see, as you said, your deputies talking about it at community meetings. And pretty soon the community got the gist that the sheriff's office was a little different than it had been in the past. And there were some things that came up under your leadership as a sheriff that were either frightening or unsettling or tremendously painful in our community. We went through some stuff while you were sheriff. And all of a sudden, when you looked around, you saw the community was trusting you. Mm. Not you, your agency. Mm-hmm. The community trusted the law enforcement officers that were there to serve them. That's when you know you've got a win. Yeah, that's when you know you've done something right. And it wasn't ever that anybody said, hey, we see that you've got a mission statement, and wow, that's really cool. It was almost like your heartbeat was contagious, and it started to become their heartbeat. And they knew that you guys were solid, that you were trustworthy, that you wanted to connect with them. And it was so meaningful and genuine, organic kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
To me, that's when, and you're exactly right. Sometimes you walk through and you're thinking, is this really resonating? And I certainly could see it resonate with the employees, but is it resonating in the community? And you really know when you walk through some difficult times, things that are going on in the community, and they're actually wanting you to partner with them to, one, be able to tell them that we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. Where our eyes are on it, we're moving on it, to be able to explain the things that we're doing. I can remember having a community meeting on a Friday night, and it was a packed house, and we gave them 2 days notice because we were hearing that there was just some uneasiness in the community. And to see that packed house on a Friday night, where they could be any place else in the world, but coming together so that we could talk about what's going on, what we see, what we're doing, and be able to know that they had the trust in us to be able to lead through that during a difficult time. That's when you see the proof in the pudding, right? That's when you know that you have led in the right direction, and that the entire team is around you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, last kind of thought. Give us some takeaway steps.
Well, create a mission statement. That's the takeaway. But what I want you to know, what I want our listeners to know, is just that reminder that a clear message will inspire and motivate and unite. You don't have to do it by yourself. It's not magic words. It's not written in stone. It doesn't have to be your mission statement forever. Just talk with some people who are in charge, who are leading well, and let them contribute to the message. Discover who you're serving, why you're serving them, the difference that you want to make in their lives, and let it be that pure and simple. And then write something short and sweet.
Yeah, and it may take some time.
Oh, for sure. And maybe some different iterations.
Right.
Totally fine.
Definitely worth doing. And as we've talked about, it may only be appropriate for a specific time. And then there might be a time, in fact, there will be a time, depending upon what's going on in your community, in your organization, that it's time to come up with a mission statement that's more appropriate for what we're currently going through.
Absolutely. we are going to do something unusual, and we are going to make available a worksheet that we use with our clients to just kind of help walk through kind of a longer iteration of what the mission statement can look like. So be sure to check our show notes. We'll put the link there, and you can just download that worksheet as our gift to you for listening. And we're just glad you took the time to walk through this with us.
Yeah, thanks for, I look at you as that authority on missions and mission statements, and I really thank you for kind of taking the lead on this and
Sure.
putting this together, because
We know it's important.
yeah, it is so important. So thanks for all your work on this.
Of course.
Ready to build a stronger team, improve your reputation, strengthen officer safety, and recruit top talent? Visit us at leleaders.com and schedule a call with us today. We'd love to discuss how our coaching programs, workshops, and keynote addresses can help you build proactive leaders in a reactive profession.
In the meantime, if you like what you've heard today, we'd love your 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.